Hello and welcome to another podcast. Today with us is Mike Land, who runs Nickel Designs. He is a creative director with 30 plus years of experience providing exceptional design for brands like Texaco, Tyrac, Vere Hotels, and most of the UK's charities. If you need brand advice, a new brand identity, or your current brand feels out of alignment with who you are and the message you want to convey to the world, talk to Mike. Where, by the day, he is a creative stuck behind a desk. By night, he's a lycra-clad fitness instructor who helps people burn calories and makes the fat cry. And here are 10 facts about Mike. Some may be true, some false. He's an accomplished Latin and ballroom dancer. He used to keep pet rats and a deadly poisonous spider. The remotest place he has ever been to is Deception Island in Antarctica. He suffers from ishikascadigaphobia, which I don't know is a word, and his fear of elbows. He has posed naked for a calendar. He entered the competition to be the next milk tray man. He has snowboarded Mount Elbrus in Russia. He had a failed bungee jump. He ran through Berlin dressed as Captain America. And one of his hobbies is collecting vintage trolls. And I'm sure the last one is true. Welcome to the podcast, Mike.
Thanks so much, Rowan. You make me sound so athletic and sporty.
Now, you have to say what you have to say then, but let's see what people decide which ones of them are true and which not.
Yes. Yeah, we'll keep that quiet.
So, Mike, starting with our podcast, of course, each of my podcasts opens with a background and inspiration. So, I would like to ask you, what was your inspiration in starting your business? What inspired you? What's the background?
Wow, what's the background? Basically, I did art at college. I struggled with the arts idea because I enjoyed painting, drawing, sketching, but I didn't know if I could create a business out of it. So when I left school, I went to college, went to Derby Green College, and then I came to Swindon to study design illustration. And it was at Swindon College I really found my love for illustration and design. So,
Right.
I left college and I ended up working for a newspaper, drawing the cartoon strip and designs around graphics for advertising.
So coming to the challenges and successes, what challenges you faced as a business owner and how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest mindset change was staff. Having staff around you, getting to that point in a business where you think, I could do more if I had the right people, the right team around me, and letting go. Letting go is the hardest bit because as a designer with a very keen eye for detail, design, professionalism, handing that information over to somebody else to do was very tough. But luckily, this guy walked in for his interview, and after about half an hour of chatting, I suddenly had this feeling that I'd seen him somewhere before. So half an hour into an interview, I realized that I'd been to college with him and he was the year below me. So that's rich. He still works with me now. But it could have been a completely different experience if I hadn't clicked.
Because we talked just about the challenges and you told us how you overcame them. Now we come to the success part. So is there a major milestone or a success that you're particularly proud of and would like to share?
So basically, when I first started my industry, I started working for an agency. So I was working for a guy that decided after 2 months of me freelancing for him, he offered me to go away on holiday and come back and be his creative director. That was a huge milestone for me because it was somebody that saw what I could do. And ever since then, I've never looked back. What was interesting is a year and a half after he made me his creative director, he decided to sell the company and he sold me with the company. I will get to the point where the milestone. So he sold the company with me. This larger agency bought me out, which again was a lovely experience. Met some amazing people, somebody that was integral to the whole print design, plate to print, all that kind of stuff. And also an ex-Saatchi & Saatchi director. So I managed to work under somebody that, I really admired. The big milestone was they made me redundant. So I walked into a printer's where I am locally in Swindon and said, please, will you give me a job? I'll bring £500,000 worth of work. They said no, we would like to create an agency with you. Not you work for us, but we'll start an agency together. And my big milestone was I bought them out a year later. So they
So you
recognized,
were asking them to give you
yeah,
a
I was
job,
asking
and a
them
year
if I
later you
would.
end up buying them.
Yeah, so a
I guess
year,
they would have thought, it would have been better to offer you a job then.
yeah, and I bought them out a year later, which was great. So I could run my company how I wanted to. So that was my big milestone.
Coming to the next one, is there something that you have done for your business and you would want to do it differently if given a chance?
Yes, it's a bit of an interesting one because we enjoyed being a team, and I wish I managed my team slightly different. Looking back,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
were fly by the seat of our pants, no strategy at all. The work came in, we were very busy, and we just ate up everything we could do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, one of our largest clients, that we've been seeing this for years, had to let us go. And for
Okay.
the next 3 months, I had to slowly let my team go one by one. And I wish that I'd
Yeah.
planned that better, because if I'd known that it was only 3 months before they would take me back, then
Yeah.
I would have done things differently, because, yeah, 3 months would have made a huge difference and I would have kept my team. So I wish I could have gone back and done that again.
So, Mike, because you're in the media and print, and it's a well saturated market, I would say. There are a lot
Yes.
of people doing the same business. So, what sets your business apart from the other people who are doing the same thing?
I think experience. So I've got a designer's background, but because I've worked under an ex-Saatchi and Saatchi creative director, I worked with one of the 5 of the UK's largest motor promotion companies. I think
Okay.
my experiences sets me out from anything else. I haven't got a marketing degree or qualification, but the amount of
Yeah.
time I've spent creating marketing strategies for a cosmetic company, for a clothing company, I feel adequate, that we've got the adequate solutions and creative ideas to help any business going forward.
Mike, what advice would you like to give to people who are starting their own business, especially like yours, like in print and media? What advice would you like to give to the newcomers who are planning to start this kind of business?
What I've noticed over the years that the landscape is constantly changing. The
Okay.
birth of multimedia, digital marketing, influencer marketing, everything,
Yeah.
everything is new. There's always something new that's always going to evolve. So if you're thinking
Yes,
about
you're right.
starting a business in the creative industry, there will be a client for you, there will be a company for you, and there'll be a sector for you that is unique
Uh,
to you.
yes. So, Mike, we talked about your business, but one thing we didn't talk about was your bungee experience, how it transformed you, and what are you doing now about it? Because I know it's a big part of your life, and I deliberately didn't ask you earlier, so I wanted to keep it for this time. So, please tell the audience what was your bungee experience and how it's transformed your life, what you're doing now about it.
Well, well, back in '93, so I was still at college, so I was a student. Some friends and I went to a charity bungee jump locally in Wiltshire. And unfortunately, after jumping off a 170-foot crane, I became the 6th person in the UK to survive a bungee rope slip during a jump. So, yeah, I jumped off the platform, didn't know anything about where I was, but I woke up in an ambulance and I was taken down to A&E. I was put in a full body cast and x-rayed for 2 hours. We're trying
2 hours
to
of
work.
x-rays.
Yeah. So 2 hours of x-ray, trying to work out if I'd broken my neck, my spine, my back, everything. Luckily, I survived with just a fractured pelvis. A lot of bruising, a lot of damage to certain ligaments and joints, but yeah,
And you
just a
said
fractured pelvis.
everything else was okay.
Yeah, everything else is fine. They put it
How?
down to, I was relaxed. They said if I'd hit the floor and tensed up, I could have made a big mess. But because I was so relaxed, I didn't scream on the
Yeah.
way down. I didn't shout. I didn't yelp or anything. I just flew silently and then went all the way down into the floor. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Mike,
remarkable.
by any chance, did you know that your rope snapped midway?
No. So basically, as I dove off,
Until you hit the ground, it was a real
yeah,
reality shock for you.
yeah, that's it. So all I
My
knew
days.
is
And
I'm
you didn't
looking
hit
at,
your head or anything. You just
I
like,
landed on my head and neck and flipped over and fractured my pelvis, but somehow I survived being flexible, I guess. So, yeah. And then you said,
that
how's that
that's no
shape?
less than a miracle, Mike.
Yeah, well, I would say so, yeah. I had a lot of nurses and doctors come to see me in hospital, and they wanted me to sign things, just wanted to meet me because I was on the news, I was in the major newspapers and everything. So
So how did it transform you and what are you doing about it now?
I think it's one of those moments where you think I've been given a second chance. So
Yeah.
after that, it wasn't that I felt invincible, but I just thought I should really grab hold of life and try everything I could. So
Yeah.
since the accident, I've raced go-karts, I've raced cars around tracks, motorbikes. I've been to,
You've been
the
trying your
level.
luck.
Yeah. So I know I'm trying my luck now, aren't I? I've abseiled up the Spinnaker. And the thing I haven't done, which I want to do, jump out of a plane. But my partner is a bit worried about what might
Yeah.
happen. But
Yeah.
I think
So you want to
what
skydive?
yeah, I haven't skydived yet, but I think I would because I didn't think I
Yeah.
could abseil, but I abseiled 100 meters down the Spinnaker. So it wasn't too bad, actually. I felt comfortable, safe. And
Okay.
what I've done, which you can't see, which is behind this camera, is there's 40 half marathons, 9 marathon medals, bike rides, swimming things. And basically, I've just chucked myself into keeping fit, trying to keep my body going. And yeah, one of those ones is, yeah, the wheelchair ambulance, doing what I
Yes.
can to raise
And I
money.
would love to hear about it. And I would love our audience to hear about it, what you're doing with them.
So I flippantly said to the lady from the Wiltshire and Bath Air Ambulance, I would like to raise money. Maybe I could do a parachute jump, or I could pull a van, or I could, carry a washing machine for 24 hours. And she went, oh, I like the idea of you pulling a van. And I thought, fine, what I'll do is I'll just get a harness, find somewhere flattish, like an airfield or a big car park, and I'll get people to sponsor me to see how far I went and how long it would last. Now,
Yeah.
during the whole beginning of this, we found out there's an actual world record for it. I
Okay.
applied
In the
to Guinness.
Guinness.
Yeah, so I applied to Guinness and they accepted my application, and that was 2 years ago. Now, we've had a few problems with ground surveys, distance and measurements and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the moment, I've raised about £12,500 for charity, and it's sitting there in a bank account on one of these Just Giving platform type things. It's called
Okay.
Give and Gain. So yeah, it's sitting there waiting for me to try to go the furthest distance, pulling a 1.5 ton van in 24 hours.
I wish you best of luck for that. And I have been supporting you behind the scenes, sharing your stuff. And but of course, it's a great thing you're doing and giving back to the community. I've always believed is the best way to show your respect for your community and your love for the community.
Yeah, I think it's that showing the love for your community by really getting
Yeah,
stuck in, hands on.
yeah. So now, Mike, we move to the quick fire round. The quick fire round is 15 questions that will be asked to you. You have to spontaneously answer them. In case you don't want to answer a question or you don't like one, you can just say pass, which I suppose you would not. But
No.
you have to be very quick with them. So are you
Okay.
ready, Mike?
Yes, go for it.
Yes. So my first question is, if you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, what that would be?
I'm going to have to say fish and chips. I love it. Terrible. Junk
You
food
can't
like
go wrong with them. You can't go wrong with them. My only thing is, if you're eating fish and chips, it has to be a lemon, not vinegar.
Sorry, it has to be a...
It has to be a lemon on the top to squeeze, not vinegar.
Yes, yes. Yeah, big fan of lemon. Yeah, lemon on the fish and chips.
So what's the most bizarre customer request you've ever received?
I was once asked by I think it was called the Wheel of Yoga. and they wanted me to
Okay.
do a nudist magazine for them, something along those lines. But yeah, that was probably the weirdest kind of subject I've had to work on.
If you could have any superpowers to help run your business, what it would be?
Oh wow. I think speed. When you're rushing around so much and you just wish
Yeah.
you could go from one meeting to the next meeting without the travel. I think if I
Oh,
could
yeah.
fly to my
Teleport?
if I could teleport or fly to my next meeting, that would make it so much easier.
Yeah. So, if you could describe your business in one movie title, what that would be?
I used to make a joke about a TV series, so I would call
Yeah.
it Breaking Brand instead of Breaking Bad, but that's about it, really.
Breaking Bad. Okay. So, what's the most useless talent you have?
Useless talent. I would probably say, well, my partner would probably say my singing is probably my most useless
The most
talent.
useless. You haven't made any money out of that, yeah?
No, no, definitely not.
Next one is, what's the strangest thing you've ever Googled for your business?
Oh,
For your
Google.
biz. Yeah. Any crazy, silly stuff you wrote on Google for your business?
No, I can't think of anything really. I think those
Pass?
questions that you read out earlier is probably my weirdest thing I've ever put out. My 10 things about me, but not all of them are true.
Yeah. So if you could hire any fictional character to work for you, who would it be and why? Fictional, any cartoons, super universe, anything?
Oh, no idea. I can't really think. My brain's not really in there. I'll have to say pass because
Okay.
I can't think of anything.
Okay. What's the best prank you've ever pulled on a colleague or an employee?
Not sure about colleague and employee. But when I was at college, we were all watching Nightmare on Elm Street, the
Okay.
horror movie.
Yeah.
And so we all went off into our little student rooms, and they were all
Yeah.
lockable doors. And we played this horrible prank on one of the girls that was in the second floor. So we
Okay.
climbed onto the false roof with a couple of forks, and we
Yeah.
scraped on her window with forks, which made it sound like the Freddy claws.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. Yes.
What's the weirdest piece of advice you've ever been given? At any time.
And there was a marketing guy that said that nobody's interested about what you've done. All they're interested about is what you can do for them, which I agree with. But I do find it weird because it's difficult not talking about where I've been, the
What do
experience, and everything else.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. So, because teleportation is one of the things you want to have, one of the skills or superpowers you want to have, my next question is if you could teleport right now to a place, where that would be.
Wow, Canada. I loved Canada. Just love being
Okay.
there. It's just a lovely place. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely Canada.
That's good. What's the one office supply you can't live without?
My pants. I have got mountains of these notebooks, and I write everything
And you
down.
actually take notes and everything.
So I have
Okay.
a whole stack of pads behind me, and I can't go anywhere without my pads.
You're obsessed with them, right?
Yes, probably. And I keep all of them, which is strange. I keep the old ones
Yeah.
as well as new ones.
Right. So what's the quirkiest name you've ever given to a product or a project or anything you've ever done?
The quirkiest. I don't know. I've worked on some strange products before. I did some drink products advertising for a fig-based drink, which is great for companies in Canada because it warms you up from the inside. But it was a hard sell trying to sell this fig, the fruit, fig-based drink, alcohol drink, because nobody will go into a bar and say, "Oh yes, I'd like some." It's called figling. So, nobody's going to walk into a bar and say, "Oh, yes, I'll have a pint of lager and a feigling, please." So,
Yeah.
and that was the hardest thing I've ever done. But yeah,
Right. Yeah. So if your business had a time machine, what year would you travel to? Your business.
yeah. Well, I mentioned earlier about if I'd known that those 3 months when that company dropped me, I would probably go back
That's
there.
sweet.
Yeah.
Back
So
there
that
and reset it.
and reset it. So that was about 2008, 9, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So what's the one thing you wish you knew before starting your business? That's before starting your business. So if you think, you should have known this before starting your business.
Team. I wish I'd known about team. Yeah. I've learned it
Right.
over the years, but I wish somebody had said, you
Okay.
just build a team.
Build a team. Right. So here's my last one, and this is my most favorite one. So I've kept it for the last. And it is, what's the most random object on your desk right now? You have to show it.
Wow. The most random.
Yeah.
It's a rubber duck.
It's a duck? Yeah. I hope these are not the Leicester duck.
No, it was, the
ones that go floating in Leicester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The duck was always on my desk for some reason. I brought it back from a show and it's lived there ever since.
Okay. So that was an amazing quickfire round, Mike. I really loved your answers, and I hope same would be with our audience. Yeah. So now we come to the closing. So my last question to you would be, what's next for your business and any exciting plans or projects on the horizon?
Well, as I said earlier, the van pool hasn't been finished yet. I had one practice run, which was cancelled the night before because of the venue wasn't flat enough to hit the World Guinness Records guidelines. And then the actual attempt where I went through with it only lasted 9 hours. And it was because I saw the venue in the summer and it was getting towards the end of the year. So it had been quite a few months in between. So the actual morning I walked the route, I suddenly realized that the concrete had been broken up a lot more than I remembered in the summer. And there was a lot of grass going up through the cracks. So I need to find a new venue for my band pool, and then hopefully I'll get in that Guinness Book of Records. For the company, we're looking at growth. So after all this time, I'm going back and I'm starting to build my team again. There's 3 of us at the moment, sort of 3/4 in our team. And I'm also connected with a group called the Tribe, the Marketing Tribe. So it's all about growth. So the growth plan is what I'm expecting next, or what I'm focused on next.
And where can our viewers find you online, your business online?
So we've got Facebook. So Nickel Design on Facebook. We got Nickel Design on LinkedIn, or you can go straight to our website, which is nickeldesign.co.uk, and you can find out all about this. I don't do any podcasts like you. I try Instagram.
Where can people find you? Where can people find you?
Find me. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere really. Mainly Facebook.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll take all your links and put in the description of the podcast, so people can actually link to your brand, your business, and yourself as well.
Yeah, and it'll be very clear whether you're looking at Lycra people, Lycra Mike, or Design Mike.
Thank you so much, Mike, for today. It was amazing having you. I hope you loved being with us, and I also hope our audience would love listening, watching you, and sharing this podcast around. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming today, and it was lovely having you.
Thanks very much for inviting me. It's been fun.